Just like when you shop for your own computer, cloud computing lets you choose the power and features you need to run your software. The difference is, with cloud computing, the PC is in a cloud provider's data center instead of physically with you. This lets you pay for only the services you use. Plus, someone else gets to manage the upkeep of the computer. Each cloud provider will have their own selection of services to choose from, but the basic services provided by all cloud providers are compute power and storage. Compute power is how much processing your computer can do. For example, when buying a home computer, you may choose a computer with 8 GB of RAM and the latest processor to run the software you need today. But as the load on the computer grows, you find that it slows down. With cloud computing, you can add and remove compute power as you need it. This saves on costs, since you only pay for the resources you use. Storage is the volume of data you can store on your computer. A traditional computer has limited hard drive space. Over time, you may have to run out and buy another hard drive to store more data. With cloud computing, you can request more storage as you need it. Cloud providers manage the upkeep of the computer, so you don't have to. They will make sure that there are backups, that the operating system is up to date, as well as making sure that everything is up and running 24 hours a day. So as your business grows and your computing needs change, you can quickly bring on new computing resources in a cost-effective way.
It's funny because as I see this stuff, I think, well, what happens if everything just goes down? There's no internet, no power. Like, this is... You're done, son. Collocated? I don't want to search with Bing. Alright, just co-located. Highlights how the standard shared responsibility model purposes. All right. Three main cloud models are private, public, and hybrid. Huh. Multi-cloud. That's new. Private would be connected to ES. I know, on premises, basically. Huh. That'd be difficult. Itchy nose. Public cloud. Multi-cloud is public cloud only. So did not. 100 XP I got. I don't even have an account logged in. Win-win scenario. Cloud gets your money. You pay less money in general. Assessment here. What's cloud computing? Which cloud model uses some data centers? Focus on. Which cloud model uses some data centers focus on providing cloud services to anyone that wants them, and some data centers that are focused on a single customer? Wait, what? Which cloud model uses some data centers focused on providing cloud services to anyone that wants them, and some data centers that are focused on a single customer? Is that just public? Anyone can access it? I mean, hybrid cloud is private and public, so according to the shared responsibility model, which cloud service types places the most responsibility on the customer and infrastructure as a service? Wait, most responsibility on the customer? On the customer? They worded that definitely wrong. I believe it's the infrastructure though. This is the highest responsibility, least responsibility in customer. Oh! Really? Which cloud focuses on some data centers providing cloud services to anyone, and some data centers focus on a single customer? Uses. This doesn't make sense, the question. Then it must be hybrid, right? Uses some data centers focused on providing cloud services to anyone that wants them, and some data centers that are focused on a single customer. Oh, wait, okay. I think I maybe read this wrong. Let's retake it. Yeah, okay. It was just worded weirdly for me when I first read it. Responsibility model. Shared responsibility model. Cases for each cloud model. Describe the consumption-based model. What was a consumption-based model again? Where was it? Alright, I might as well sign in. Give me a sec. Oh! is. Apparently I'm signed in. Achievements and activities will be publicly visible. Let's put my name on it. Oh. Skip that part. Did that give me the points? No, it didn't. Can I do it again, please? Oh, it did give it to me. Where was that part about the... Oh, here. Summary base model. Oh, yeah, it's just... You pay based on how much you use. Architecture and networking. Learning path. Next module in this learning path is here. Introduction to cloud infrastructure. Describe cloud concepts. Huh? What does that do? Anyway, let's go through this. Alright, let's do this one.
A service level agreement, or SLA, is a standard industry term. It's the formal agreement between a service provider and customer that guarantees the customer a stated level of service. A service level agreement, or SLA, is a standard industry term. It's the formal agreement between a service provider and customer that guarantees the customer a...
What is it?
It's the
service level agreement.
formal agreement between a service provider and customer that guarantees the customer a stated level of service. The service provider may be a commercial company providing the service, like Microsoft when you use Azure services. But SLAs are also used inside organizations in an agreement between the IT department and the business users. Let's look at what SLAs mean for Azure. Azure's service level agreements are represented as a percentage related to the service or application's availability. This availability is also known as uptime. If the service was always available to use, you'd say it was 100% available, or it had 100% uptime. An SLA also commonly includes details like what is defined as downtime when the service is unavailable, and any credit you may be entitled to if the SLA is not met. In reality, 100% uptime is difficult and expensive to achieve because it allows no time for taking the service down for required maintenance or upgrades. It would also require duplicating every single component in case one component failed, and would require those backup components to pick up the service tasks with zero interruption to the customer. For these reasons, SLAs of 99%, 99.9%, and 99.95% are more common. 99.99% is also available in some services in Azure. Is there a big difference in a service that's 99% available versus one that's 99.9% available? Yes. A service with a 99% SLA percentage can be unavailable for up to 1.6 hours per week or 7.2 hours per month and still be 99% available. That time is cumulative, which means it can be added up over multiple incidents of the service being unavailable. A service with a 99.9 SLA percentage can be unavailable for only 10 minutes per week, or 43.2 minutes per month. That's clearly a big difference. If the service is critical to your business, minutes versus hours of downtime can make a big difference. But highly available services do come at an extra cost. Each Azure service has its own SLA. Familiarize yourself with them prior to designing any application that runs on Azure to ensure you're optimizing availability against your business needs.
Well, that was interesting, actually. Vertical scaling, add CPU, RAM, and horizontal scaling, add more instances. Okay. Benefits of reliability and predictability in the cloud. Reliability and predictability are two crucial cloud benefits. Zero region, failed region, failover path, recovery from failures and continue to function. Decentralized design across regions. One region fails, another keeps running. Pillar of the Azure well-architected framework. Design the cloud enables you to have resources deployed in regions around the world. The global scale, even if one region has a catastrophic fail, the other regions are still up and running. Nice. Design your application to automatically take advantage of this increased reliability. In some cases, your cloud environment itself will automatically shift to a different region for you with no actual need on your part. You'll learn more about how Azure leverages global scale to provide reliability later in this series. Building cloud lets you move forward with confidence. Predictability can be focused on performance predictability or cost predictability. Both performance and cost predictability are heavily influenced by the Microsoft Azure well-architected framework. Performance predictability focuses on predicting the resources needed to deliver positive experience for customers. Balancing. Describe benefits of security and governance in the cloud. You're deploying infrastructure as a service. Software patches and updates applied automatically. Filter directions. Governance, compliance, security. This is a longer unit. Major management cloud convenient. It's manageability. Auto scale, templates. Replacing failing resources. Runtime metrics. Deploy resources. Based on a pre-configured template, removing the need for manual configuration. What? Oh. Optimize how resources are deployed and used. Match actual resource demands. Cloud providers operate large scale should improve resource utilization compared to many. You can also reduce waste by matching deployed resources to actual demand. Three questions a module test. Which type of scaling involves adding or removing resources to virtual machines or containers? Horizontal scaling. What is characterized by the ability of a system? What is characterized as the ability of a system to recover from failures and continue to function? Reliability. Which cloud practice most directly supports Which cloud practice most directly supports sustainability by reducing unnecessary resources, automatically scaling down resources during drops? There you go. Nice. Summary. Complete module. Voice level 2 up here.
You automatically get a subscription. From there, you can create more, maybe one for development, another for marketing, and one for sales. It's all about keeping things organized. So how do you get Azure? Easy. Sign up on the Azure website, go through a Microsoft rep, or work with a cloud solution provider partner for a fully managed experience. Now, what about the Azure free account? It's perfect for beginners because it gives you free access to popular services for 12 months, a credit to use it in the first 30 days, and access to more than 25 products that are always free. Signing up is simple. You will need a phone number, a Microsoft or GitHub account, and a credit card for identity verification. Don't worry, you won't be charged unless you upgrade. Students, we have got something special for you too, the Azure Free Student Account. It includes free access to certain services for 12 months, a credit to use during that time, and developer tools to help you build amazing projects. The best part, no credit card required. Now let's show you how you can interact with Azure. In this demo, we'll see together how to explore interacting with Azure. If you want to follow this demo, you can also find the instructions on Microsoft Learn website. When you first connect to Microsoft Azure, you'll find Azure services in the middle of your screen.
But my question is, where is this? Is that it? Introduction? Is that the last part of it?
As well as recent and favorite resources in the bottom part of your screen. I highly recommend to use the Research tab.
Okay.
On the top if you want to discover some resources, services, or even documentation. If, for example, here I type virtual machine, I will see the services recommended here, but also marketplace resources and documentation that will redirect me to Microsoft Learn. On the left side, you will find the most common
block some stuff off. I don't want to do that.
Azure resources, as well as your favorite resources that you can adjust according to your needs. On the right side, next to my profile picture, you have Cloud Shell notifications, settings, and support buttons if you need to reach support, or you can also provide feedback to our team. Let's start with settings. It's here you can select your subscription. You'll find the full subscriptions list in this part, and if you want to switch between subscriptions, you can. You'll also see appearance part if you want to set up the view of your Azure interface, or the theme, for example, if you want to switch to dark, you can do it here. As well
do
as
dark,
decide
please.
how
Do dark.
your left side menu behave. You can switch the language, as well as you can change your contact information in the same settings part. We do have here Cloud Shell. Let's say you do prefer use code to interact with your Azure environment instead of visual interface. In this case, you can launch Cloud Shell directly in Azure and select if you want to use PowerShell or Bash. So by default here I have my PowerShell that did authentication for me, and I can write some commands here. For example, get easy location to see all locations available in Azure. So those are different regions that I can use. We'll discuss them later in the module related to the storage. Also, I can ask to provide the same formatted as a table. It's why I add to my command FT, and it will provide me the same list of regions available in Azure in a different format, like you can see here. And if you are more familiar with CLI, so Bash, you can also change to CLI interface inside of our Cloud Shell, and technically even write the same command but in different language. Like here, I can ask for AZ account list locations to review the list of the regions available, and if I want, I can format it as a table as well in a Bash environment. To do it, I will just add to the same command Azure account list locations or table, so it's mean organize as a table, and basically I shift to do here. You'll see the same result as I did in PowerShell. For sure, if you're more familiar with graphical interface, it's more comfortable, you can use it. If you want to try some Cloud Shell here, but you don't know all this command, I highly recommend to use Copilot button.
Cloud Shell.
This is proposing you some CLI language formulas and capabilities. For example, if I don't know how to use it, I can ask how to create a virtual machine with specific size, and it will suggest me my command, and I can just copy paste it directly from Copilot to my Cloud Shell. Or also I could ask any other question about Azure Insight to learn more about
I wonder how much he actually uses the Copilot though.
The search part of our portal, use the most common services, set up our account, and also leverage Copilot to communicate better with Azure and to know more about this portal. I hope you enjoyed. Let's come back to our presentation. Let's continue with the next lesson, centered around the fundamental components of the architecture. This happens to be my favorite lesson due to my passion for travel. I will demonstrate how Azure empowers your data to traverse the globe, enabling resources to find their place in any corner of the world. A region is a geographical area that contains at least one data center or multiple data centers located nearby and interconnected with low latency networking. The Azure platform automatically allocates and manages resources within each region, ensuring proper load balancing. When deploying a resource in Azure, you often need to select a region where it should be deployed. Certain services or virtual machines type may only be available in specific regions. Additionally, there are global Azure services that don't require choosing a specific region, such as Microsoft Entra ID, Azure Traffic Manager, and Azure regions. Additionally, there are global Azure services that don't require choosing a specific region, such as Microsoft Entra ID, Azure Traffic Manager, and Azure DNS. Microsoft Azure currently comprises more than 60 regions worldwide, available in 140 countries. The second term related to our regions is availability zones. Availability zones are physically separated data centers within a single Azure region. Each availability zone consists of one or more data centers equipped with independent power, cooling, and networking systems. As a result, an availability zone acts as an isolation boundary. If one zone experiences an outage, the other continue functioning. Availability zones are connected through private high-speed fiber optic networks. To ensure resilience, each region supporting availability zone has at least 3 separate availability zones. However, some services may have limited support for availability zones. For example, some may only support availability zones for certain tiers, regions, or SKUs. Another crucial point to note is that most Azure regions are paired with another region within the same geographical area with a separation of at least 482 kilometers or 300 miles between them. This strategy enables the replication of resources across geographical zones, minimizing the risk of disruption caused by natural disasters, extensive outage, power within the same geographical area. The most Azure regions are paired with another region within the same geographical area with a separation of at least 482 kilometers or 300 miles between them. This strategy enables the replication of resources across geographical zones.
How or where did they connect all the cables to these things together? Under the ground? But that would have taken forever to dig through holes and shit with those cables. What the? Oh, no, wait, no. Well, yes, but they must be connected just to the main system, right?
The risk of disruption caused by natural disasters, extensive outage, power failures, or network issues affecting an entire region. For instance, if one region from a pair is impacted by a natural disaster, services will automatically switch over to the other region in that pairing. Some examples of Asia region pairs include West US and East US, as well as Southeast Asia and East Asia, among others as mentioned on
Australia
the slide.
Southeast,
Since region
Australia
pairs are
East.
directly connected
What
and
the?
adequately distant from each other, they can be utilized
sense,
to
I
ensure
guess.
redundant and reliable services and data. Besides the regular regions, Azure
Wonder where
also
those are.
offers
Wonder where they
sovereign
is.
independent regions.
Wonder where Azure is in Australia.
Southeast Asia and
Probably Sydney and Queensland, right?
East Asia,
Brisbane.
among others as mentioned on the slide. Since region pairs are directly connected and adequately distant from each other, they can be utilized to ensure redundant and reliable services and data. Besides the regular regions, Azure also offers sovereign independent regions for governmental organization. In other words, sovereign and independent regions are Azure region dedicated to government entities, isolated from the main Azure environment. Azure government regions in the United States are physically and logically isolated from Azure networks for US government agencies and their partners.
Huh.
These data centers are operated by US citizens and undergo additional compliance checks. Azure government utilizes the same underlying technology as Azure, sometimes referred to as the commercial or public Azure version. This includes the core components of
What about other
infrastructure as a
countries,
service,
though?
platform as a service, and software as a service. Both Azure and Azure government provides comprehensive security management capabilities and uphold Microsoft data protection commitments. Azure China represents a distinct sovereign region, constituting an isolated Azure environment within China's borders. This exclusive Azure sovereign region in China is established through special collaboration between Microsoft and 21 ViaNet. Unlike other Azure regions, Microsoft doesn't directly oversee the operation of data centers here. Instead, 21 ViaNet autonomously manages this region. Now, let's proceed with the demo to explore our architectural landscape within the context of our global reach. In this demo, we will explore Azure Global Infrastructure. It's available in public access to everyone. We have the following website, datacenters.microsoft.com. So if you want to explore the globe on your own, it's totally possible.
Let's do that real quick. .com/globe/explore. The Azure Global Infrastructure. Whoa! Oh. That's fun. This is fun. Baby, check this out. Can you see that? It's all the places where Microsoft has like a data center for their cloud stuff. Cloud, like, you know, iCloud? Yeah. Like Microsoft version. Oh. Look, Australia. Oh my god. They have here. Yeah. Yeah, I'll check one. Can I zoom in more? It's far as I can see. Let's see. Where's Japan? What's this? Oh, Hawaii. Wait, where's Japan in relation to? What?
Left, yes, there.
Here, right?
Yes.
They have a bunch. Japan East. Stored at rest in Japan. Information. Tokyo, Saitama.
Yay.
Japan East.
Thank you.
You're welcome. What's this? I don't know what some of these are. Should probably explain it in a sec.
When you connect to this website, you will have a 3D model view. You can also switch to the view map, view information about regions as a table, or use this globe 3D view that I really like. Each time when you click on the region, you will find information about its location, year when it was opened, different compliance information, regional one, industry one, as well as the global one. And you can review this information that potentially can help you to select the right region. If you look at a different part of the planet here, there are also some regions that are coming soon. They have different icons, and we can review what will be created soon, as well as we have sustainability projects created by Microsoft with information about location and the type of sustainability projects that they're using. If you want, you can use the legend with the powerful filters here to see exact information that you're searching.
Solar program. Whoa. Financial year 28. So that one's online already. Cool.
Or you have also specific region filters by compliance solutions, disaster recovery options, sustainability features, as well as availability zones presence that we'll discuss in a different session. So I could select a specific compliance features that I'm interested in or certificate and review the regions that hold it. Also, next to it on the right side, we have a take a tour possibility, so we can discover together how data centers looks like from inside. Very interesting experience. So here we have again a 3D model. This time it's not a globe but a data center. And inside of the navigation menu, you will find different information about sustainability and security of Microsoft Data Center. We can even enter inside of this data center and to review how a typical lobby of the data center will look like. You have a possibility to explore again everything in 3D model.
Whoa, what the hell? It's a person.
And to go to the different part of the data center to also check its security feature. I hope you will do it on your own. There are much more to discover, but the most important here is for sure our global map in which one we can discover
so
different regions and networking opportunities provided by Microsoft. I hope you enjoyed. Let's come back to our presentation. A resource is a basic standard building block, meaning any component in Azure. Everything you create, provision, deploy, etc. is a resource. Virtual machines, virtual networks, databases, cognitive services, etc. All of them are resources in Azure. We'll talk about each of those things in more details of the next slides of the session. For now, I won't explain each one in detail, but I will come back to that later when we discuss their meanings. Resource groups are simply resources grouped together, as the name suggests. When creating a resource, you need to place it in a resource group. While a resource group can contain multiple resources...
One sec.
resources, each resource can only reside in one resource group at a time. Some resources can be moved
I
between
don't know why subscribers only mode was on.
resource groups, but when moved, they will no longer be associated with the original group. Additionally, resource groups
Again?
discuss their when creating a back to that later when we discuss their meanings. Resource groups are simply resources grouped together, as the name suggests. When creating a resource, you need to place it in a resource group. While a resource group can contain multiple resources, each resource can only reside in one resource group at a time. Some resources can be moved.
Well, let's do it. You're becoming a cybersecurity specialist as well?
Moved between resource groups, but when moved, they will no longer be associated with the original group.
Yeah.
Additionally, resource groups cannot be nested, meaning you can't place resource group B within resource group A, and we can't create a hierarchy between them.
Hold on.
Resource group.
Hear that again.
Additionally, resource groups cannot be nested, meaning you can't place resource group B within resource group A, and we can't create a hierarchy between them. Resource groups offer a convenient way to group resources because actions applied to a resource group apply to
Oh, nice. Well, didn't even know there was a bachelor for that.
all resources within it. Deleting a resource group will remove all resources within it. By granting or denying access to a resource group, you're effectively granting or denying access to all resources within that group. When preparing resources, it's recommended to carefully plan the resource group structure that best suits your needs. For example, if you're setting up a temporary development environment, grouping all resources allows you to undo the setup of all related resources simultaneously by deleting the resource group. If you need to
Wait, what?
grouping all, for example, if you're setting up a temporary development environment, grouping all resources allows you to undo the setup of all related resources simultaneously by deleting the resource group.
Okay.
If you need to set up 3 different ways to access the compute resources you're creating, it's a good idea to organize the resources by each access method and then manage access at the level of these grouped resources. Now, let's examine the
Right.
management structure that contains our resource groups. To do that, we'll proceed to subscriptions. Subscriptions are the unit of management, billing, and scaling in Azure. Similar to how resource groups are a way of logically organizing resources, an account can have multiple subscriptions, but it only requires one. In an account with multiple subscriptions, you can use subscriptions to configure different billing models and apply various access management policies. Azure subscriptions can be used to define boundaries for Azure products, services, and resources. Subscription boundaries comes in 2 types: billing boundaries and access management boundaries. The billing boundaries of a subscription determines how charges for using Azure in the account are applied. You can create multiple subscriptions for different billing requirements. Azure generates separate billing reports and invoices for each subscription to help you organize and manage expenses. Additionally, Azure applies access management policies at the subscription level. You can create individual subscriptions that align with your organization's structure. For example, within a company, specific departments could have a separate Azure subscription policies. This billing model allows you to control access to resources used by users within their respective subscriptions.
Why is billing such a big deal? Bro, I will distract you. You already are. Wait, why did I see your message on the screen but not in the chat? What the hell? It's so weird.
When thinking about subscriptions, remember that they serve as
I see all
billing
those hearts.
boundaries and regulate access. The last architectural element I want to discuss with you is management groups. As you already understand, resources are grouped into resource groups, and resource groups are further organized into subscriptions. If you're just starting, resource groups are already
We're focusing!
understand, resources are grouped into resource groups, and resource groups are further organized into subscriptions. If you're just starting with Azure, this hierarchy might seem sufficient for organizing things. However, imagine you are working with
I am AI. You're AI. You're AI, you boob.
multiple applications, several development teams in different geographical regions. With many subscriptions, an effective approach is needed to manage access
See you
policies
later.
and compliance. Azure management groups offer high-level coverage over subscriptions. You group subscriptions into containers called management groups and apply governance condition to them. All subscription within a management group automatically inherits the condition applied to the management group, similar to how resource groups inherit settings from subscriptions, and resources inherit settings from resource groups. Management groups provide enterprise-level management at large scales, regardless of
Right.
subscription types. Resource groups can be nested within management groups. Important facts about management groups. One directory can support up to an incredible 10,000 management groups. Also, a crucial fact is the management group tree can support up to 6 levels of depth. This limitation doesn't include the root level or the subscription level. Within the tree, each management group and subscription can have only one parent element. To better understand the structure,
Only
and
what
subscription
element?
can have
Parent.
only one parent element. To better understand the structure, let's see how we can create a resource on the portal. In this demo, we'll see
Yeah,
how to
show me
create
on
an Azure resource.
this.
This demo scenario is also available on Microsoft Learn if you want to follow it with me and create your own resource. Just for example, I will show it on virtual machine, but you can use any other resource for creation. You see that resources appear in different parts. You use the search button in the center of your screen, as well as in the left panel. When you open it, you have an option here that's called Create. It will be the same for any other resources. And when you first create a resource, you need to select the subscription, the resource group in which one you want to locate this resource, the virtual machine name or the name of any other resource. And after you set up your subscriptions, that is your billing boundary and resource group that you use for organizing logically your projects, you'll have an option to select the region as well. It's better to locate your resource closer to your customers, so I highly recommend to select the region that is close to your users. As soon as we selected the region, we also can review our estimated monthly cost of our virtual machine. We also have some availability options, zone options, and availability zones that we'll discuss later when we'll walk through virtual machine setup. We can select image size of our resource, and to connect to it later, we'll also provide the username and the password. So for example, if I use virtual desktop later, I will need to use this information to connect to it. So I provided the username, password, and I confirm it. I can also set up inbound ports on my virtual machine and also bring my own license if I have already one to save some costs. We can select the disk attached to this VM, networking options, management if you want to activate some extra security feature like Microsoft Defender, monitoring options if you want to send some alarms related to it, add some advanced feature like extension. I will show you in another demo how you can do it also through the PowerShell, and tags for billing purpose. Let's say if I want to filter after that my resources by a specific division name, I will use a tag like IT here. And after we set up all of it, we can review our resource information here after the validation passed, review the final price for our resource, and if everything looks correct, we can hit create button. It takes usually up to a few minutes to create a resource. It depends on the complexity of the resource. It's started the deployment. There is also a template that will be attached to the deployment, and it will not only create a VM but also will provision all related resources. So first you see it has network interface that was attached to this virtual machine that was created. And as soon as this resource is deployed, there will be a bunch of other resources like public IP address, network security group, and also it's continue to create the rest. What I really like about any resource creation, so if I need to redeploy this resource, I can use a template provided to me, and it means that it simplifies any resource creation in the future. Now this is that most of it are done. There are 5 related resources that are created together. And the redeploy button is just on the top if I want to redeploy it here, or if I want to save it as a template, I can download this template as well. We'll speak about them in our session 3.
Very high
And
level
I think
overview.
we are mostly complete. Let's refresh to here if you want to check if it's done or not. Usually it takes around a few minutes as we deploy multiple resources, and now it's done. Deployment succeed. Let's go to resource. This is it. It's created our virtual machine, and if I want, I can also open the resource group that we created on this tab, and we do find 6 resources in total that are associated to this resource group, including our VM, IP addresses, network options, disk, and virtual network itself. Multiple topics that we'll discuss a bit later in our training. So we did discover how we can create multiple resources. The most important.
Okay, here's a knock at the door. He opens it and sees a snail on his porch. Picks it up and throws it as far as he can. 3 years later, there's a knock at the door. He opens it. It's the same snail. He looks at it and says, "What the heck was that all about?" No. Boo.
First, you need to select the resource that you want to deploy, and each time on any resource, we'll have this plus.
We need some better jokes in here.
For creation of the resource and
Sorry.
multiple steps to complete. And you will select normally each time subscription, resource group, and the region for the most of the resources. I hope you enjoyed. Let's come back to our slides. Let's now explore different types of Azure computing and networking. In this section of the session, we'll get to know Azure's computing services. We'll explore different choices for computing, like virtual machines, app services, containers, and virtual desktops, which are displayed on the screen. We'll look at each of these resources separately in this session. So let's begin with virtual machines, which we saw in our previous demonstration. With Azure Virtual Machines, you can create and use...
Now I get it. The snail took 3 years to get back to his door, right?
Virtual machines in the cloud.
Or am I missing something?
They provide infrastructure as a service, yes, in the form of virtualized service.
Azure.
And you can use them in various ways. Just like on a physical computer, you can configure any software running on a virtual machine. Azure Virtual Machines are an ideal choice if you need full control over the operating system, the ability to run custom software, and the integration of customizable deployment configuration. Azure Virtual Machines offer flexible virtualization capabilities without the need to purchase and maintain the physical hardware.
What I need to know is, what are people using these for?
On which they run.
These
However,
VMs.
Within the IaaS offering, you still need to handle the setup, updates, and maintenance of the software running on the virtual machine. Virtual machines also have various
We're even watching this
capabilities
1.25
that I briefly
times
mentioned
speed.
during our virtual machine creation, such as scale sets and availability sets. In our next demo, let's see how to create a virtual machine differently by using Cloud Shell. Also, if you would like, you can follow this exercise. It's available on Microsoft Learn platform. So let's get started.
Is it? How do I do this? Is this it? Where do you do it? Apply Azure skills in guided projects. Eh? I haven't even done any Azure. This is just cloud concepts. I thought I was on the Azure path. Huh? Okay, now I'm confused. Hardware, network connectivity, physical security for yes. So what you're on premises then? Testing, development. Oh, okay. Cloud provider maintains the operating systems middleware. Development environment for what though? Developers can build upon so it's cloud-based applications, right? Can create OSH. 800. Developers can create applications using built-in software components, cloud features such as scalability, high availability, reduce the amount of coding that developers must do. Analytics, business logic, tools provided as a service. Huh, okay. All the application stack. Data identity accessing, device access posture. Team using SaaS collaboration platform to focus on user onboarding, access controls, data governance for the provider has messaging. Right. Right to the applications. Bias and expense tracking. Okay, I think I see what's going on here. Okay. Cool, I've completed that, I guess. Yo, I'm studying too. Steer me. Thank you, brother. Good luck. That one takes 2 hours, but I did it right. Oh no. This is what I think I have to go do, right? Azure architecture and stuff.
What is Azure? Azure is Microsoft's cloud computing platform with an ever-expanding set of services to help you build solutions to meet your business goals. Azure supports infrastructure, platform, and software as a service computing with services such as virtual machines running in the cloud, website and database hosting, and advanced computing services like artificial intelligence, machine learning, and IoT. Most of Azure's services are pay-as-you-go. You only pay for the computing time that you use. If your business needs complete control over your computing environment, Azure allows you to host virtual machines in the cloud. You can create virtual machines from scratch, upload your own virtual hard drive, or choose from an array of templates that Azure provides. Azure also provides cloud-based storage, which allows you to store your application or backup data safely and securely. Azure's app services provide a scalable hosting platform where developers can create web-based applications using popular development frameworks. You can easily deploy, operate, and scale your apps in a fully managed environment. With Azure Functions, you can create event-driven, serverless applications with no coding required. Azure Container Instances and Azure Kubernetes Service allow you to deploy containerized applications with fully managed services.
Containerized?
Azure offers a choice of fully managed relational and in-memory databases, spanning proprietary and open-source engines, and Microsoft's Cosmos DB provides support for several popular NoSQL APIs. Azure's artificial intelligence and machine learning services empower developers and data scientists with a wide range of productive experiences for building, training, and deploying machine learning models faster. Azure's regional data centers allow you to distribute your applications globally, so you can locate your data and apps where they're needed most, thereby improving your application performance for your customers. The Azure portal lets you create, configure, and control all your services and resources from a single, easy-to-use web-based interface. Microsoft Azure offers a wide array of cloud computing services, where infrastructure management, scalability, availability, and security are handled for you, saving you time and money.
compute, networking, storage, database, service categories. Holy shit, so many services. AI and ML, look at that. Here you go, identity and security. This is my section. Mainly identity and enter ID will be probably my area of expertise at some point. All right. Subscriptions created for you. Single user account, separate subscriptions for development, testing, and production created. All right. User account.
In order to start taking advantage of the wide array of Azure services, you'll need to first sign up for an account. If you are completely new to using Azure, you can begin exploring what Azure has to offer by signing up for an Azure free account. An Azure free account includes access to 20 Azure products free for 12 months, access to additional products that are always free, and a $200 credit to spend during your first 30 days. For more information on signing up for an Azure free account, head here.
Let me hear that again.
Months. Azure product includes purchase access. If you are completely new to using Azure, you can begin exploring what Azure has to offer by signing up for an Azure free account. An Azure free account includes access to 20 Azure products free for 12 months, access to additional products that are always free, and a $200 credit to spend during your first 30 days. For more information on signing up for an Azure free account, head here. If you work
That'll
for a
allow me to
large
learn.
organization, you may be able to purchase access through a Microsoft representative or through a Microsoft partner. Finally, you can purchase access directly through Azure.com. With pay-as-you-go pricing, you pay only for what you use each month, with no upfront commitment, and you can cancel at any time. Once you have an active Azure account, you may want to create additional subscriptions for resource or billing management purposes. If you have multiple subscriptions, you can organize them into invoice sections. Each invoice section is a line item on the invoice that shows the charges incurred that month. You can also set up multiple invoices within the same billing account by using billing profiles. Each billing profile has its own monthly invoice and payment method. Once your account is active and billing is set up, you're ready to start using Azure. As a part of your subscription, you have 24/7 access to online documentation, community support, and new Azure Capabilities demo videos created by Azure engineers. For more information on the support
Credit for 30 days. Okay. I probably need to grab something. Oh, level 3, nice. Whatever that means. She just talked about this global infrastructure website. Availability zones, geography, data center. Let's get into Claude real quick.
Snacky time.
What snacks do we have?
Nothing.
Chocolate there.
We don't have snacky.
Nope. Daddy battery. Maybe it's not worth. I don't need to learn this actually. Ow. So do I not need to know this? I should don't know. I might just go into the other course and see how it is. Perhaps. But maybe finish this later. YouTube's website. Focus. Oh, full hearing. Nice, I want that. Thank you, Forbes. Is it watch later or is it in my courses maybe? No, it must be in playlist. I think. Oh, I blocked my face. I just realized. 2 hunters went on hunting in jungle. One of them collapses. His eyes are gazed. His eyes are gazed, and he's lying on the floor. The other hunter does not know what to do, so he calls the helpline. What helpline? Cybersecurity. Here we go. Is this not a course? I thought it is. It's full video series here. YouTube. Oh, it is a course. Should save the course. Alright, let's do this one.
In today's digital world, the traditional security parameter has vanished. Users, devices, and data is everywhere inside and outside your organization. So how do you protect what matters the most? That's where Zero Trust model comes in. Hello and welcome. My name is Walid Meh. I'm a Microsoft technical trainer here to walk through the Microsoft SC-300 Identity and Access Administrator Associate course with you. Welcome to the SC-300 video series where security meets...
Now here's a question for Claude. He says that my friend is looking like he is dead. The helpliner says, don't worry, be calm. First make sure he is dead. The helpline woman hears a gunshot. Says, he's dead now, what? Huh. That was better. That was a better one. Good job. Alright, whatever. Let's just take this course and see how we go. Let's check if he has a training list here. More of this course, take certification examination, new skills. Oh yeah. This is it. Huh? Explore identity.
It's strategy.
You're not gonna watch your live streams again, right? Fair enough. See you, dude.
In this session, we dive into Zero Trust model, the gold standard for modern cybersecurity. We'll explore why identity is the new parameter and how understanding identity providers is a key to securing access in a cloud-first world. Whether you're an IT pro, a security enthusiast, or just curious about how Microsoft defends the digital frontier, this is your gateway to mastering identity and access. So let's get just like first world. Whether you're an IT pro, a security enthusiast, or just curious about how Microsoft defends the digital frontier, this is your gateway to mastering identity and access. So let's get started. Zero Trust is built on three foundational principles. Verify explicitly. Now, always authenticate and...
What do you mean? They're mostly live streams, that's why. Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's my ZVE1. I love it. I always take it with me, traveling. I don't know, I'm pretty happy with my thumbnail. You don't like it?
Authorize based on all available data points such as user identity, location, device health, services or workloads, data classification, and anomalies. Use least privilege access. After verification, access should be granted based on the principle of least privilege. This means receiving only the minimum level of access required to perform a task, and only as long as necessary. So just enough access and just in time. For example, a user might be given access to a specific resource for a limited period of time. If their work is not completed, they can request an extension or renew their access.
Oh, nice.
This approach helps to reduce risk by ensuring that permissions are tightly controlled and regularly reviewed. Also limiting use.
So, for your professional opinion, well, what's your professional opinion though? Like, unique thumbnail every stream? I feel like that's a lot of work.
User access with risk-based adaptive policies and data protection to secure both data and productivity. With Assume Breach Zero Trust framework, we operate under the assumption that a breach is not just possible but likely. This means we don't fall into the trap of believing our systems are entirely secure. Instead, we proactively plan for a possibility of compromise.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, I think it's not too bad now, to be honest. It used to be way worse. There was none. Now I have one, so I think it's pretty good, to be honest.
By segmenting access and encrypting all sessions and leveraging analytics for threat detection and response, we can significantly reduce the impact of any breach that does occur. This approach ensures that even if an attacker gains access, their ability to move laterally or access sensitive data is limited, and threats are identified.
It's so bright with this guy talking here. Maybe there is a good
and
middle
addressed
ground.
swiftly. Now, to implement Zero Trust, some of the few things that you want to pay attention to would be how we can authenticate something and authorize. And this is where we need to start bringing to the conversation of why do we need identity?
Why use identity to be able to prove what we are? To be able to do something. To your point, what was done, audibly. To be able to self-administer an identity administration. User sign-on experience, trusted sources, federative protocols, level of assurance. How and where are authorizations handled? Can a user access the resource? And what can they do when they access it?
For something to or someone to prove who they are, and based on that, what level of access they should be provided. Now, talking about authentication, this is how we validate
wait a second. Update the name of this thing.
our identity to a service based on the information that's been provided to the identity provider. Now, authentication is me saying who I am. And verifying by simply providing some sort of details. Maybe in real world, we provide our IDs, passports, and similar other verifications that we might have. Again, similarly, we'll talk about some methods that we can use on digital world by providing some sort of details. At a very basic, we could be looking at username and password, but we'll get to more details a bit later on. Now, once you have authenticated and you have validated who you are, you move into the next part, which is talking around authorization. Now, depending on the level of access that you need to be provided to be able to do your job, just what we said under Zero Trust, we're looking at least privilege access implemented in your environment. So talking about just enough access at this point, providing people so they can be able, they can perform the tasks that they need to do as part of their job role. Now,
I'm all-in-one, dude. Can edit and make thumbnails. Not blah blah. All about this. I'm gonna pick one of video. I'm gonna edit, make great thumbnail, send to you for free. Your choice. No, it's all good, man. I'm happy with what I have, to be honest. Like, no stress about that. I don't need like you know, any special thumbnail, to be honest. I just made this one with AI and I got my text on it for what I want to do, so pretty much just like that covers it, I think.
along with that, as an administrator,
Appreciate the offer though.
you are going to be looking at auditing most of the things that are happening in your organization in terms of analyzing data on who's logging in, if that login was successful, if they try to log in at office hours, out of office hours. So you're looking at auditing a lot of different things to understand different patterns, along with if there were any cybersecurity threats to your environment based on your authentication and authorization. For instance, someone accessed a file in one of your environments which they shouldn't have access to. How did they get access, and why were they looking at that file? It's something that you could find out using auditing. Along with all of that, one of the key areas that you want to also look at is administration. For a very long time, for most of the administrators, we're typically referring to 3 A's, which was authentication, authorization, and auditing. However, performing the 4th A, which is the administration, and yet not necessarily highlighting that area. So we want to highlight that area that as part of your setup, you're also going to be administering all of these things. So as a security administrator, you're looking at understanding who needs details added in for their authentication.
Yeah, you can do it if you want to. You mean a thumbnail? You can do a thumbnail if you want. Feel free. You're not restricted.
What level of access they need? Do they need a limited time of access to be able to work on certain areas? So just in time, just enough access as part of your plan in your environment. To ensure you can automate some of this process, we will talk about some more details within this course a bit later, talking about entitlement management as to automate this whole process. Now, let's talk about what is an identity provider. Now for this, let me jump onto a whiteboard and take you through the explanation of an identity provider.
Whiteboard.
Now, traditionally, if you're looking at
whole video, wait, why would you want to do that? I don't even know how I would even get one to you, to be honest. My files are massive. I mean, if you're just doing it for fun, you know what? It doesn't matter, because like, this, I can't upload anything on this channel anyway, to be honest, because YouTube doesn't like mixed content, and I found that out the hard way, sorta, I guess. So like, it's not really. There's nothing to edit. There's actually nothing to edit. If you know what I mean.
Between a client
Like I have
and a
videos to edit, but they're not for this channel.
server. We've always had, for instance, a client trying to
But like it's stuff that I
log
want
in
to edit
or
myself because it's like my videos from Japan. So
access resources that are placed on some sort of a login. We've always had, for instance, a client trying to log in or access resources that are placed on some sort of a server to connect and authenticate. Now, this process would typically require the client to be able to send some details to the server. For us, we can go back to the oldest mechanism that we've known of, typically using username and password. And this is where a client would be able to authenticate to the server to be able to work or connect and gain access to the resources that they might have had. However, we want to introduce something different in between. We are looking at modern day of working with identity providers and talking about how a modern day identity provider can come into this picture and change some of this. And for that, let's talk about creating an identity provider for us to begin with. And this is where
water again. Yeah, this is more interesting than Azure. But after I finish this training video, can we watch Suitable? Sure. I think I've got like 15 minutes left. Oh.
Baby.
Mm.
I said baby.
Yeah. Baby.
Baby.
Mm.
Saturday 9 a.m. or Sunday 9 a.m. 2:30, 3:30.
Saturday and Sunday?
Yeah.
9
So it will be
9 a.m. or what?
so okay. So it will be 10 in the morning or 3:30 in the morning or
3:30 in the morning.
no afternoon.
Okay.
3:30 and 4. Maybe 4 and Sunday.
4 on Sunday?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Wait, really? Yeah, okay. Yeah, let's do it. 5th?
Yeah.
All right. 4 p.m. Sunday. What is it? Are you gonna make the event?
What?
I'll just make the event here,
Okay.
and I'll invite you. Maybe. Appointment. Okay, I invited you. Hopefully that works. Well, in that case, okay, that's all right, I guess. But like, I don't have. What do I have for you to edit though? What are you gonna do on Sunday? Watch One Piece. I'm gonna have a meeting for something, and but it's a secret right now. But I'll be maybe gaming with a friend on the weekend as well, so that'll be nice. What do I have? Well, let me think about what I have for you to edit. I have I was gonna say edit one of my streams for a fun video, but like, I think they wouldn't be necessarily fun to edit because if they're so long, and also it wouldn't be that fun to watch me back just studying, which is usually what I do. I did have some funny clips before when I was doing developing, but maybe I'll make a new video and you can just edit that one, because I do have a video that I want to do for my channel, or a couple. So how about I film that and I let you know when it's done, when I've filmed it.
We'll start the communication from our client that is going to start looking at talking to the modern day identity provider. Now, typically the client would exist or have some sort of an existence with the with your identity provider, and for it to authenticate to the identity provider, it will provide some sort of
What's that? Oh. What the heck, baby? Did you read that?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Especially the DJ.
Yeah.
What the hell is going on here? Are we like their best customer they ever had or something?
I don't know what.
That's an impossible thing that they did.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah.
It's Soul of Code. That is so crazy. I'm happy to upgrade that.
Yeah, same.
I would have done that anyway. I didn't know what was included, and that, of course, I would upgrade as soon as I found out anyway.
Yeah.
Not even have to ask me that.
It's really good.
And they'll order specially that one? It's not normally there? How is that? Really? Really? That's surprising to me. I, 'cause, 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 ' What does that mean? I don't know why I'm coughing so much. Music, any music.
Any music is okay then.
Any music for the DJ only.
Yeah, for the DJ only. Wow.
Oh. Save your video. It goes boom. Wait, what? Dude, I'm not gonna edit a new video. I'm gonna edit past videos. You can edit so you can upload it for free, dude. Wait, what? What do you mean? Like, what do you mean edit my past video? That doesn't really make sense, does it? Or I'm just confused about it. Yes, I am happy about something, but it's a secret at the moment, as I said. But we can't order. We got a phone call.
Details. Now, these details could vary, but we could start with the very basics of username and password for today, and we'll build onto this a bit later on.
Can you add your viewer into your conversation? Huh? My viewer? What do you mean? What?
Now, as a result of that, the identity provider can authenticate the user with the details that it has and provide it with some sort of a token. Now, this token...
Hold on, he's doing an explanation here.
Some sort of details. Now, these details could vary, but we could start with the very basics of username and password for today, and we'll build onto this a bit later on.
All right.
Now, as a result of that, the identity provider can authenticate the user with the details that it has and provide it with some sort of a token. Now, this token is what we could refer as our security tokens or security claims that it would require or to understand who that client is and what level of access they could have. Now, if in this scenario we were to introduce a client trying to log into different services, let's start building in that conversation by simply introducing a server or a service where my client is trying to log into. Now, one of the first things this client is going to do is trying to gain access to that service. Now, if this service has no knowledge about this client, one of the first things that it would like to do is ask the client to authenticate itself, and will ask it to
You mean my conversation over here? I would talk about it, but as I said, it's a secret. But I will talk about it in the future.
send that information to it. However,
if that's what you're referring to.
Modern day identity providers, this is something that it can simply take away and suggest, hey, this is not something I'm going to be doing. I have a service that's available to me that's going to provide me some of that access. So it will bounce that to the identity provider that it belongs to. And in this case, the identity provider already understands this client because it's already authenticated their client. It knows who their client is. And based on that, it will
think my camera just overheated or something. I don't know. Maybe Google Drive or something? Can you upload it? I can download it? I'm gonna sneeze. Ah, jeez. I already gave you my... I told you what my Instagram was as well already. It's Soul of Code. It's same as YouTube.
Be able to generate a token that can be then sent to the server for it to allow this user or this client to authenticate itself. And one key thing that I should mention over here is that the server that we are trying to work with must have some sort of trust built with this identity provider and should recognize that identity.
This is the future. Your girlfriend, wife. Yeah. Yes. Well, stick around. You will hear about it for sure.
Provider. Now, one of the key areas that you want to understand around that would be...
Okay, now I'm slightly confused what you're
The
saying.
identity provider already understands this client because it's already authenticated their client. It knows who their client is. And based on that, it will be able to generate a token that can be then sent to the server for it to allow this user or this client to authenticate itself. Now, one key thing that I should mention over here is
another token.
that the server that we are trying to work with must have some sort of trust built with this identity provider and should recognize that identity provider. Now, one of the key areas that you want to understand around that would be, hey, as a server, I've received a token, let's call this T1, from this identity provider. How do I know this was not tampered with or it's not generated by another service and I've been just presented that? And this is where the server, based on the trust that it has built with the identity provider, it can verify that. Or it can look at using the identity provider's public key to match it with the token to see if it works. And if it was generated by the identity provider, hopefully or surely it will start working and would be able to validate that token that was sent out to the server. Now, as a result of this, the server should be able to give access back to, or give access to the client and drop in a cookie in here.
I'm gonna upload it on Google Drive and send you a link. See you later. If it is a past video, and just re-upload it or use a different account. Are you sick? No, I'm not sick. I don't know. I do get hay fever sometimes. I'm allergic to dust, so yeah, that sucks. Oh, thank you. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's going pretty well. I actually swapped to learn straight away to the Microsoft Infra shit instead of doing any Azure stuff, because I think I can just do it without Azure shit. I was doing it for like a foundation because I don't really know networking that well, but yeah, so far I'm understanding this. So
here to recognize that this client has already validated themselves. So as and when it continues to connect to the server again or request for more information, it will present that cookie along with it, which in simple terms is a digitally signed cryptographic token that it keeps there to ensure that it is presented by the same client coming to the server based on an authenticated session that they've already started working with.
Is cloud computing and cybersecurity related? Sorry, I don't have much knowledge. No, I don't either, so don't feel bad. Cloud computing is related, yes, because one of the jobs for cybersecurity specialists is or one of the cybersecurity specialist roles you can go into is cloud security. That deals with, well, I don't want to say what it deals with exactly, but like there's a token system that happens and hashing and like there's a public keying, private key stuff, and you got digital signing and stuff like that. Yes, of course I do. Of course I watch anime. Do you? I'm assuming you do, since you said that. Yeah, but I'm going into another role called IAM, which is Identity and Access Management. So it's, from what I understand it, it's kind of like an off branch a little bit of cybersecurity, where, or no, it's within cybersecurity, but like it feels like an off branch because not many people go into this role. All the people that go into cybersecurity want to be hackers and defenders and stuff like that. But this role is like for managing people's identities and access. So like if someone wanted to get into a program or like a computer, you'd have to verify their credentials before they can get in digitally. So it's all kind of under the same umbrella, but like this is a specialty you can go into, I guess.
Let's take another example of how an identity provider would work in a scenario. So if we start with a modern day identity provider to work with, and let's introduce a user to the scenario. Let's call this user,
I'm not gonna lie, I hate his purple color.
Adele, our star user, and Adele is going to log into a browser.
You should have just done like
as a client,
internet symbol or something.
Try and access a website.
This looks difficult to draw.
Now, as Adele reaches that website or tries to authenticate or log in, the website ideally doesn't have any information about Adele. So it will simply bounce that back to Adele to say, hey, browser, Adele, authenticate yourself, and this is something that we will push back to our identity provider. Now, initially, Adele would have logged in to her device or authenticated herself by using username and password, or many other methods that could have happened. Again, this is something that is between the device or the user Adele and identity provider as a communication or authentication that they might have carried out already. So Adele is authenticated to the identity provider or is not.
That's why I joined cybersecurity. Bro, you and me got too much same. What's your favorite anime? Mine is Full Metal Alchemist and Death Note. Wait, you joined cybersecurity for hacking and stuff, I'm guessing? My favorite anime is Demon Slayer and Kaiju number 8. Solo leveling is also good. Free Ren is amazing.
Onto the identity provider because it's part of that identity service. So once this website bounces a signal back to the identity provider to say, hey, can you authenticate this user for me? Now this is where it can generate a token for us to suggest, hey, that's fine. I know this user, Adele, is already authenticated with me. I'm happy to give you a cryptographic.
What's with that little dot he does?
That can verify that I'm
Next to a
happy
T.
with you trying to give access to Adele onto the website. Now, again, like we said before, this website should have some sort of trust built between the website and the identity provider, so it knows where it is and what it is. And again, it can use this trust to validate the token, in my case, T1, or like I said before, as well, you can look at the cryptographic key to validate it. Now, let's add more to this. Let's assume Adele is now going into another solution such as, let's assume we go into a SharePoint site, and SharePoint website, SharePoint site online. And in this case, if we start looking at the communication between Adele and from the browser on Adele's device to log into the SharePoint site, the process is the same. The SharePoint site would be asking Adele, hey, who are you, confirm your details, and will ask you to verify that information, which in turn will go back to the identity provider in this case. The whole process repeats itself again, and the details are sent from identity provider to that service, in this case the SharePoint Online.
This is weird because why would you need an authentication? I think he's kind of doing it in a weird way. You would authenticate in the first place to access anything, I think, on the device. So I think the up arrow and down arrow to the identity provider should be going to a Dell, not the browser. Oh yeah, because over here is the other one is the client here. So yeah, it's
and
weird.
It generates another token for it to validate that information around a Dell. Now, if you're looking at a correlation between the tokens that the identity provider generates, like stuff T1 and T2, there is none. Each token is generated based on the service that's trying to reach the identity provider, and this can be based on different types of protocols. Most of the modern authentication protocols, like validate that information around the SharePoint Online, and information which in turn will go back to the identity provider in this case. The whole process repeats itself again, and the details are sent from identity provider to that service, in this case the SharePoint Online, and it generates another token for it to validate that information around a Dell. Now, if you're looking at a correlation between the tokens that the identity provider generates, like stuff T1 and T2, there is none. Each token is the provider generates, like stuff. Now, if you're looking at a correlation between the tokens that the identity provider generates, like stuff T1 and T2, there is none. Each token is generated based on the service that's trying to reach the identity provider, and this can be based on different types of protocols. Most of the modern authentication protocols, like SAML, WS Federation, OpenID Connect. The difference between the difference between them probably would be the encoding that they use. For instance, SAML and WS Federation uses XML, and OpenID Connect uses JSON. Now, once this information is provided by the identity provider to the service, typically in the backend or as a result, the service.
I see my my camera's getting a bit hot, guys. It's overheating over here. So it's almost dying as well. So yeah, I might actually finish off this video here. This live stream here. I'm gonna watch this rest in my own time after I turn this off, because I don't want to destroy my camera. Yeah, thanks for joining, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll be on again, continuing this path. We gotta get through. We're doing SC-300 and he named this intro ID. Interesting. So yeah, we'll be learning about all of this. All right. Well, yeah, go for it, man. Thank you guys for coming in. I'll talk to you later. See ya.